another Just Enough Heshy show, and we have a lot to talk about because, of course, we know what happened. We have a bunch of verdicts this week, a bunch of my videos that we're going to talk about the shootings and craziness that's going on, and Thanksgiving parade tomorrow with the hot air balloons. There's no hot air balloon on the Belosi, the blah, whatever's the idiot's name. I'm not allowed to say idiot anymore on the show.
You cannot use any. You've been barred, and your mic will be shut off if you use any derogatory terms.
I thought I'm the host of the show.
You cannot insult people.
But idiot is not an insult. It's
a compliment?
It's a compliment if you're an idiot.
Really? I have a new name for you.
What?
No, I'm not going to.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to welcome back Soya to the show. Soya, how are you?
I am, thank God. Thank God. I'm doing great. Thank you.
So you're so pretty. Soya almost didn't come tonight because my phone went dead while talking to her. So I had to recharge it. So she got insulted like all women get insulted.
How many hours ago?
But it doesn't make it. First, it was only 2-3 hours ago.
So if I called you 3 hours ago,
right,
the phone gets disconnected.
Right. Then I got
how long
busy.
after? Wait a minute. Hold on. I don't need an attorney. I could represent myself.
Do you know I'm Heshy's attorney. Do you know how many times he hasn't called me back? I don't get pissed off.
Yeah, it's not true. I always call you back. You lie. I call you back right away. But anyways.
Or 8 hours later.
And Soya, first of all, you're so pretty.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Thank God she made it to the show with 10 minutes to spare, doing me a favor. I had to beg her to come. How are you, Soya?
I am great. Great to be here.
Be quiet. Anyways, Ezra, my beautiful friend, I wanted to get Ezra a haircut by Borg's Barbershop, which we're going to introduce, but Ezra says, no, my hair is perfect. Why are you here? You should color it, Ezra. No, he won't. You're only 45. Look, my hair is still
48, thank you.
My hair is still black.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave it alone.
Anyways, we're going to start.
Well, where do you go, Heshy?
We're going to talk about that soon. But Soya, who is paying for the show? Plaza, my people.
Plaza Auto Leasing. They are not only a leasing company, but also a dealership. You get the best of both worlds. The flexibility to lease or buy any vehicle, make or model, combined with quick service, huge inventory, and easy approvals. There is no finance manager to meet with, just a friendly pal sales representative that can handle most of the transaction from start to finish without you even having to step foot in their office. All you have to do is place your order, and they will even deliver your car right to your door. What are you waiting for? Become a pal and call Plaza Auto Leasing today. You can reach Plaza Auto Leasing at 718-975-9000. That's 718-975-9000. You can also check out their website at www.plazaautoleasing.com, located at 2750 Nostrand Avenue in the corner of Nostrand Avenue and Avenue N. Call 718-975-9000 and become a pal today. And don't forget to tell them Uncle Heshy sent you.
718-975-9000. By the way, I lost my car key. I misplaced it, and I wasn't able to lock my car, so I didn't know. So I locked it from my special app that Plaza gave me, and then I opened it, and I started, and I warmed up the car. When I picked up Mira Nava, my granddaughter today, she was freezing to walk right into a warm car. I like Plaza.
All we have to do is hope he doesn't lose his phone.
Right.
Green Line Building Solutions, Preservation and Development, Fire Department, Criminal Court, Department of Finance, Environmental Control Board, Compliance, Contracting, License Department of Building Expediters, Designs, professionals for all your building solutions. 202 Foster Avenue. You can reach Green Line Building Solutions at 718-871-0382. That's 718-871-0382.
I had a rough week last week with the building department. They all close at 12 o'clock today. Government agencies close at 12 o'clock. So far this week, I know tomorrow's Thanksgiving and when everybody's off, but I got a lot accomplished. A lot of people were happy. Sometimes I get lucky. Call Green Line 718-871-0382. We're really one of the best out there. Thank you so much. And who's next on our list?
Law offices of Ezra Levy, specializing in
the good-looking,
okay,
handsome Ezra Levy.
Okay. Specializing in all criminal matters, including weapons possessions, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft offenses, assaults, WIs. If you've committed a crime, or even if you haven't, and you got arrested, call Ezra Levy. You can reach him. You can WhatsApp him. You can text him. You can call him. 917-755-1187. That's 917-755-1187. And he takes calls
Almost
all hours.
Almost all hours.
Like me. Ezra, what's your phone number?
917-755-1187.
You know, when I talk about Ezra, I tell everybody he's Batman. He's like the Cape Crusader. And it reminded me of a funny
You have a signal for him all the time when you...
I do.
You put he sees the bat in the
bat,
sky.
yes.
No. He sees my cell phone, which is a lot. But you know, me and Linda went out to dinner with a guy, and he had a date, a young girl, not the brightest bulb in the bottom Box, and I was sitting there talking to her, and she says, I'm in New York City. I want to go see Gotham. I said, Gotham is not a real place. It's she's from some Midwest. I said, Gotham is a fake in the comic book. She says, no, there's really a Gotham.
I said, Gotham is the name of New York City.
Right, but she wants to see Gotham City. I said, there's no Gotham City. She said, no. I said, maybe you believe in Batman? She says, yes.
Maybe she meant a Broadway show or something?
No. She said she wanted to see Batman. I said, there is no Batman. She said, there is a Batman. I said, if there's a Batman, how come there was 4 of them? This guy, Christopher Bale, this guy. She says, no, because he wants to have his identity secret, so they put 4 other people there. My God, some of these young girls are just retarded.
So it was a good day to another.
Yeah.
Barbershop.
He didn't have, he wasn't with the brightest girl, so I guess whatever he was happy with. She was pretty. I guess pretty girls could be dumb. Batman.
Okay, you're just full of
women. Yeah.
no compliment.
Sure.
Baruch's Barbershop,
Wait till I
located
tell
at
you- wait till I
108
tell you about-
Avenue Y. You can reach Baruch's Barbershop at 718-758-5187. That's 718-758-5187. Or call, text, or WhatsApp Baruch personally to schedule your appointment at 347-845-9131. That's 347-845-9131.
But-
Official singing barber of Heshy Tischler.
By the way, I'm going to Baruch for a haircut because I have a wedding next week, and I have a Thanksgiving dinner, and I want my hair to be all nice and black, cut out all the white, and I want you to come with me, Ezra. He's gonna make more hair on your head somehow. Ezra? Was a joke.
Well,
I have more to pull out.
tomorrow is a big holiday. We have Thanksgiving.
We are.
And everybody's going to have family members over,
Right.
unless they're not. Maybe they're Zooming their Thanksgiving.
You're going to need a permit from the city if you have more than 30 people, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, when you have all those guests and they leave and they finish breaking your cabinets or your drawers or whatever they finish breaking, call up Mr. Super. You can reach Mr. Super at 718-218-5555 for cabinet repair, furniture, ceiling leak, sink, toilet repair, shelf installation, wall patch, anything and everything that your husband promised to do and didn't. You can reach Mr. Super at 718-218-5555. That's 718-218-5555.
He also is a superintendent of buildings. We can pay him a flat fee. They come, they shovel, they clean, they mop. It's nice buildings. He's very professional. He works with me. I love him. Call Mr. Super, 718-218-5555.
5555.
Wonderful.
Attorney's Office of James Meadow, highly ranked traffic lawyer, former criminal lawyer, dedicated to all moving violations throughout New York State. James handles all points-related moving violations in New York City, Long Island, and upstate New York. Speeding, red lights, cell phone stop sign, failure to yield, and improper turn are traffic offenses with stiff penalties, including huge fines, points, increased insurance rates, suspension of your driver's license, and even being arrested. The law offices of James Meadow is your best chance of beating your traffic ticket. 845-842-5387. That's 845-TICKETS.
845-842-5387. I recommended him a couple of people this week. He said, no problem. He's cool. He's smooth. I love him. Thank you. Thank you, James Meadows, for helping a couple of my clients. You're just a wonderful, good man. And, of course, you're going to save me for my ticket, so I have to be nice to you because I want to win.
Well, if you're looking forward to going to a vacation, you need to call Traveler's Choice. They will hook you up with local and international travel, car rental, hotel, everything and anything for your travel. Reach out to Traveler's Choice. That's Joseph and Devorah Leifer. You can check out is this an email or a website? josephL@travelerschoice.com.
That's an email.
Or you can call Joseph and Devorah Leifer at 212-868-8698. That's 212-868-8698. Traveler's Choice is your only choice for travel.
Traveler's Choice, 212-868-8698.
We have another attorney. This
Good.
one does real estate.
We need a lot of attorneys with me. I'm in trouble.
He primarily does closings. So if you're buying a house, selling a house, and you need an attorney to do your closing, Attorney's Office of Abraham Hoshender for all your closing and contractual needs. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, need help clearing up a title, buying or selling a home, whether commercial or residential, for the best legal assistance any present or future property owner can get. The law offices of Abraham Hoshender today. You can reach him at 347-435-3402. That's 347-435-3402.
You did great today.
And don't forget to send your questions to
Right.
The
We
super
are,
chats.
you are watching.
And
You are watching and listening.
Can they call in? 718-289-0070?
That's what I was just going to tell. 718-289-0070.
Gotta be quicker.
And you can also text me at 718-288-7844. You can send messages to justinoughheshy@gmail.com. You can go onto YouTube right now and comment during the show, and Sawyer will read all your messages or questions. And, of course, we're on Facebook, Just Enough Heshy, Twitter, Just Enough Heshy, Instagram, Just Enough Heshy. What else is there? TikTok, my favorite TikTok. I'm going to tell you how many things we got. But, today...
Boomy just let us know you have the wrong. Gotham is Philadelphia. New York City is Metropolis.
Whatever.
No. Gotham City is New York City.
City is New York City. Talking to the mic, you.
Sorry,
Listen to
buddy.
me. We are going to give a shout out to my beautiful Mira Nava, gorgeous. She was away for a week. I missed her. And my granddaughter, Layla Tamar. And
Lila Tamar and Mira Nava.
and-
Come on.
and my friend- and my
Dove and Shani Hiking.
and my friend Ellie.
And your
don't
friend
forget
Ellie,
our
Sergeant
favorite-
Peters, my
Sergeant
beautiful
Peter.
Shoshana.
Yes. Okay. Now we're going to start our show, everybody. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to make fun of people. We're going to make fun of my producer because he keeps threatening to shut off my. Everybody keeps bossing me around. He wants to shut off my mic all the time. We have a show that I'm allowed to say. I thought this was America. I'm allowed to say what I want, but of course, everybody thinks they're Cuomo and Biden, whatever. Even my even my producer, that little whatever. Anyways, here's my quote of the day. Are you ready? If you let people perception of you dictate your behavior, you will never grow as a person. And I don't care what anybody thinks about me or their perception.
We know.
But I'm trying to tell you, in life, you have to
Predict would be like you being predictable, which you're not.
Okay. Anyways, in life, you have to take risks. Your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. And I'm always going to try to make it a good one. Anyways, that's our quote for the day. And I'm going to give you two funny jokes today because I'm not sure last week nobody laughed at my joke. And if my friend Christopher Messi is going to call into the show, boy, he's going to scream at us about guns. He's going to tell me, Heshy, shut up. Now you see I'm right. Anyways, here's my joke of the day. Me and Linda have been really fighting a lot lately. I mean, I guess it's the woman thing. All these women with the, sorry, you're a woman. All this menopause crap and all that. I'm joking, whatever. But anyways, Linda's been screaming at me a lot. So the other day, Linda went to the bedroom and I went to the living room and I said, I'm not talking to you the rest of the day. All of a sudden I hear Linda screaming from the bedroom. Do you ever get a shooting pain across your body, Heshy, like someone got a voodoo doll stabbing it into you? I said, no. She said, what about now? I mean, she had a voodoo doll. She was stabbing it. You got it. Well, I thought it was funny when at the time she did it, she thought she was stabbing me. I guess, I don't know, she wants to have me killed. Anyways, I went, my
I'll
sister.
let her know how it works.
Yeah. I did have a pain in the leg or the neck, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, my
But
sister-in-law.
you're still standing.
Yeah. My sister-in-law gave me her dog, Cuckoo or Coco, whatever. They stupid names for the dog. Why do you even name a dog? Just say dog. Anyways.
Didn't you have a dog
I did,
during the time you were running the
Right.
De
De Blasio.
I had a dog named De Blasio. De Blasio, if you equate it, it means dog. That's the way I called it, De Blasio. Anyways.
It was really a cute dog.
It
You
was a
shouldn't have
cute dog.
named it De
I know.
Blasio. That was like really...
I know everybody was upset about that.
Animal cruelty?
Yeah. Oh my God, is that a crime, Mr. Law? You gotta
It is.
After picking up food for my sister-in-law's dog, Cuckoo, Coco, whatever who I was watching while they were away, so I spied a new bowl, one of those feeding bowls. So I grabbed it and I went over to the store and he says to me, Mr. Tischler, shall I put the dog's name on the bowl? I says, no, the dog can't read anyways. Okay, I thought that was funny. Anyways, we're going to start
tonight.
We're going to start our show tonight, but of course we're going to start with the top of the show. The first thing that everybody in the whole world is talking about is Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, we did say he was not guilty. Last week we had Pat on the show, and he said for sure he's not guilty. Chris is going to call into the show. He's going to scream at us, I told you, that's the way you have to have a gun. You have to defend yourself. Chris is going to give me an answer.
It's your right. It's your constitutional right.
So again, according to the trial, this kid had a gun. He came looking for trouble.
No, wait a
No,
second.
he didn't.
Again, you see, this is this. According to the evidence at the trial, Kyle Rittenhouse, like many other people, were out there for counter-protest to clean up the area. He had a gun because he's allowed to have a gun in Wisconsin. He wasn't planning to
His
use it.
dad lived there.
He was all this stuff of crossing state
He
lines is
didn't
all bogus.
cross state lines.
there for a
to
few
commit
days
any
already.
crime. And by the way, the gun which what he was
It wasn't
allowed to
his.
use. It wasn't his.
Right.
It was in the other state line. So he didn't cross state
Okay,
lines
so
with a gun.
Let's just get something straight about this. Kyle Rittenhouse, his life was threatened by 3 different people, and he defended himself.
What kind of people?
Not the nicest people in the world. But again,
Nicest. These are like
they were
convicted
thugs. They
felons.
were
So then I have a question for the two smart of you.
I think he did a great service to this
probably-
country.
He probably did.
So I mean, according to Mr. De Blasio, the mayor of the city of New York,
The idiot.
No,
but I'll say that again, right?
Because I was according to my producer, he's the smartest man in New York. He's the mayor, right? He's the smartest man. And according to your president, Joseph Biden, they're saying
He's
this.
not my president.
But this was a wrong verdict, and we need to
No,
change
let's
the
get
law.
this
so
straight.
let's-
He's not my president.
So let's get this straight.
He's nobody's president.
So,
He's
Mr.
not
Lawyer,
a
you're
president.
not happy with the verdict, Mr. Lawyer. So
Am I
you
happy
can
with the
change
verdict?
the laws.
No. Let's first of all, we could always change the laws if people want to vote for them. But the thing is, De Blasio wasn't happy with the verdict because it didn't fit his narrative of white supremacy being the biggest problem in America. Mr. Biden, who thinks white supremacy is the greatest threat to America, again wasn't satisfied with the verdict.
It's worse
So it didn't
than
meet
that.
it didn't
It's
meet
worse.
their narrative.
They incited.
It didn't
They
meet-
were inciting.
You're right.
Wow,
It
let him finish, Sawyer.
didn't meet-
No, they were inciting.
Okay.
You want to know something?
Wow.
During BLM and everything else, and when they were painting the streets, Mayor de Blasio was taking and making everything backwards. They're taking down statues.
Okay.
180 something years. Thomas Jefferson. They're taking down the statue. You cannot go, even if you don't like the history, you cannot take
We
down
got
the
you.
history
Sawyer,
and get rid of it.
Sawyer.
That's what history
Sawyer,
is.
let the boy finish. Is this the time of the month for you? Because you're
Leave it.
freaking out.
That's not nice. We all
No,
stop.
but
We all-
okay.
Okay.
Apparently, to you, every woman is going through her time of the month. Are you going through your time of the month?
I am going through time
Yeah,
now
I-
because I have to deal with you crazy
Your
women.
time of the month never ends. It's
Right.
a day. It's a time of the day.
Do you know there was do you know in Sweden a woman became prime minister
2 hours?
The first woman ever to become prime minister.
resigned after 2 hours.
And she resigned after 2 hours. You tell me that's not a retard. And then here's the best part. You know what? I want my job back. I'm gonna go to the king and kiss his butt to get it back. Really, you women are whacked. You want to be boss? You don't want to be boss? Make up your mind. That's why we never had a woman president in New York. I mean, United States.
Well, we do have a woman governor.
I know.
But anyway,
That was a mistake. That was a
all right, so let's
mistake.
go back. I just want to go back
Yeah.
to Kyle Rittenhouse. So again, if you watch, mainstream media, especially left-wing media, you have a total. The story that they gave you was totally fiction, and Kyle Rittenhouse was was literally a white supremacist. So according to some people, actually killed 3 black people. So I mean,
They were all
you know,
white.
so let's again. If you followed the trial at all, at least thankfully the jury paid attention to the evidence played at trial that was presented to them at trial, and the judge's instructions as to self-defense. Kyle Rittenhouse acted lawfully. Now, whether you want to say he belonged there in the first place or not, that doesn't make him a criminal, or at least, and it definitely doesn't make him a murderer.
Can I ask you a legal question?
course
If
you
he
could.
would have been found guilty and the judge would have overturned the
Yes.
verdict, could have they prosecuted him again?
Well, if the judge would have overturned the verdict, they could appeal the judge's decision to overturn the verdict to an appellate court. That's one of the few times that a prosecutor could appeal a verdict that went for a defendant at trial. Because of double jeopardy, we have to respect the jury's decision, and he can't be retried. If the judge overturned the verdict as being against the weight of the evidence, okay, as opposed to just a regular mistrial, but if you threw that as being against the weight of the evidence, and after an appellate process that was affirmed on appeal, then they could not have retried him.
Okay. So now here's my question for you. Carl Rittenhouse is not guilty. So I want to ask you a funny story then. I'll tell you why that you're wrong about the Carl Rittenhouse verdict. Because I had posted a video this week, and you're going to like this, Sawyer, of a young sister and brother whose brother was killed during an armed robbery. Now, this young man, Bradley Rappel or whatever, whatever.
I saw the video. I'm already
He
laughing.
walks into a General Dollar store armed robbery. This Chris is going to have a good laugh with this. Walks into a General Dollar store with a gun, brandishes it, points it. Witnesses say he did it, was robbing the store, and the clerk, which is the store owner, took out a gun, which he legally was allowed to have, and killed the robber. Now, the sister and brother go on national television and say, this is wrong. He had no right to kill my
He
brother.
should have allowed him to rob the store
Right,
and possibly kill all of them.
No. Call the police on my brother. My brother was wrong, but he shouldn't have been
Oh,
shot
he was
and
wrong?
killed.
Ooh, that's
No,
big
he
of
wasn't
her.
wrong. He wasn't wrong. He was shopping.
He was identifying as a shopper,
And the police officer...
brandishing a gun.
But here's the...
He's a shopper
Right.
that carries a
And
gun.
the police guy came on and said, not only was this guy showing the gun, that's why we don't even understand why the brother and sister are even screaming that he was killed, but that he was also investigating that he's part of many other commercial robberies. And that's why the guy had the gun in the store, because they were
Exactly.
robbing store after store. So my question to you is, if the sister and brother is saying that it's wrong, that when you're robbing...
He's a serial shopper.
So how could Carl Rittenhouse be allowed to walk around with a gun? Let him call the cops.
So first, again, whether or not Carl Rittenhouse should have had a gun that night is a separate question. With whether or not he was guilty of murder.
Right.
Okay. So,
But this guy, the clerk in the store...
So the clerk in the store, if he has a permit for his gun,
Right.
in most states you need a permit. Whether or not you want to say
can't-
that,
just because you have a permit,
whether or
you have
not
no
want
right to
say that-
shoot people.
No, you don't have a right to shoot you don't never have a right to shoot a person for the sake of shooting a person. But you do have a right to defend yourself with deadly force if deadly force is being
But this
used
guy
against
really
you.
just came in with the gun. He really wasn't going to kill
he's
you.
not going to kill you, right? He's going to point the gun at you, and you're going to trust him that he's not going to kill you.
So call the police on him.
When? When?
So that's my
In
point here.
between, when you're sitting down and having a cup of coffee.
We see
In
that with
between
him?
while you're being robbed.
While you have a beer with the guy, right?
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
sorry, you can't multitask?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll multitask with multiple weapons.
Okay, so pretty much we understand that this guy is nuts. Any questions on YouTube yet? Anyways, we're going to keep going to the next thing. Now that we're talking about murder, robbery, shooting.
one down in Georgia.
So far we see that you're allowed to defend yourself and shoot back. So now we have another case, the Arby trial. Can you explain this to us?
Yeah,
Three
sure.
guys go and chase a guy who's running in their neighborhood. Maybe he's robbing stores, so they tried to detain him. He started fighting, so they shot him.
No, that's not what happened.
What happened?
Okay, so there were reports of a domestic burglar at night going through people's houses in the neighborhood. Mr. Aubrey may or may not have fit the description of this burglar at night. The three defendants, especially the one who was found the father and son, okay,
Yeah.
believe that he may or may not met the description, but Mr. Aubrey was at the time of his death was actually just jogging that night. Like and most people, young people his age, were jogging on the pavement. Just because he's black does not make it illegal for him to be jogging in a neighborhood. They wanted to speak to him according to the evidence, and he just kept going. So they shot him. Now that is not self-defense. That's murder.
But,
Yes, it is.
But
So,
my
that's
question
what
to
they
you...
were-
This
and
was
that
in what state?
This is Georgia. And
Georgia,
they,
right.
So how
and they,
is
and they
so
were
how
convicted
is
of murder.
so how is this defense attorney? He's even arguing Travis McMichael
Yeah.
was found or whatever. Whatever this.
No, it was clear. It was clear murder.
But this guy, Kevin Go, the defense attorney, says that I am going to appeal the verdict and I'm going to find him. Under what reason
so
could
there's
he
two
find?
things. First of all, anytime a defendant is convicted after trial, there's always going to be an appeal. So
But most lawyers don't take the appeal.
well, that's not. You have if you have all defense attorneys must file a notice of appeal within the statutory period after the
Usually
conviction.
30 days
In New York, it's 30 days after sentencing. It's 30 days after judgment. Judgment is in New York. Judgment is considered concluded at the time of sentencing.
We have calls.
So whether or not you whether or not you want to or not, as a lawyer, you must file the appeal. Now, you must file the notice of appeal. Whether or not another lawyer will take the appeal, that doesn't matter. So when a defense attorney tells me I'm appealing something, it means absolutely nothing to me. It means you're doing your job. Now, what Mr. Go is appealing, one of the things he's appealing is there were many black pastors, including Al Sharpton, who came to visit during the trial and to sit with the family of the deceased. And that may or may not have
Influenced the jury.
sympathies in the jury. And that's his argument.
My question to you is, I mean, the way you're looking at the evidence, that what I understand is this idiot father and son actually videotaped.
No, the other guy, the videotape, I think.
The third guy videotaped
the murder.
The murder. So there's not even a question that he murdered him.
Exactly. So many times when it comes to an appeal, even if you have a valid reason for appeal, there's something called harmless error
But
analysis.
this third guy that videotaped it also was found
He was
guilty.
found guilty because he participated.
What do you think, Chris?
Why did he even show the thing? Chris!
All three of those guys should burn in hell. They should get the chair. There was no reason whatsoever to chase that young man down and murder him. None at all.
Okay. So you see now let's go back to the next one. Is now that you're saying that, first of all, I would like before we get to the Carl Rittenhouse thing, you know about that young sister and brother. Do you think it's fair that you shoot somebody that comes in with a gun to rob you? I think that he should let this guy go. No, Chris.
And give him a free
course.
lunch.
Absolutely. You know, the insane, twisted non-logic of the left, which wants to disarm free people and make them victims of criminal sleaze, is bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. Of course you have the right to defend yourself and your property. That's what free people do.
But you know, if there wouldn't have been any witnesses in the store, I bet you that they would have arrested this clerk.
They would have, except that hopefully, I mean, I think every store owner should have not only video cameras, but actually video cameras that tape and DVR it, so they can protect the stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Carl Rittenhouse, I want to tell you something. Just one more thing. When it comes to Carl Rittenhouse, since we touched upon it, I'm sure Chris is going to have some insight as to it also. Carl Rittenhouse would not have been acquitted if it wasn't for the videotape that was brought not by the multimedia, but these independent reporters who actually went and did the work that nobody else wanted to do.
And the videotape.
And those
videotape-
those videotapes exonerated Carl Rittenhouse.
Wow.
It showed the actual.
So then-
showed,
Kyle should never have been arrested in the first place. It's ridiculous.
So Chris, with all this evidence, why would the prosecutor waste his time and money and millions of dollars, whatever, to waste the whole?
It was a racial arrest, if you think about it, because it was somebody else that murdered excuse me, there was a young man that was black, I think, that killed 4 black people, and he got a $75,000 bail, whereas Rittenhouse got a $2 million bail.
Well, again, I'm not going to compare. That has to do with the evidence.
The other one wasn't self-defense even.
Well, again,
it wasn't even a claim of self-defense. He murdered 4 people, and he got a bail set at 75.
That's a different case. I mean,
But that's discrimination.
Okay,
as far as
that's a
Yeah,
case.
but was that happening in the exact same jurisdiction, or was that a different jurisdiction?
That's the shooter in the case that Sawyer's talking about is a teenager in Texas. So that's a little different.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to. And that kid was apparently
The only
his allegations that he
comparisons
was
worth
bullied by
making
his
are
by his
between
friends.
the exact same jurisdictions and the exact same
But the-
district attorneys.
but the thing is-
because this is part of why we have a marvelous tapestry of 50 states and lots of municipalities.
Exactly.
People elect, in theory, the people that they want to, pursue the laws in the way that they feel intelligent. We think they're insane sometimes, but
Right. But to go
Kyle's
back-
never been arrested.
Right, but
The
to go
young
back to
man was
Hershey's
busy
case.
protecting someone's property.
You're right. To go back to Hershey's question, why was Carl Rittenhouse prosecuted if the evidence was so clear? Because there was a lot of people who
Because of
there was a
leftist
mob
political
mentality.
pressure.
There was a mob mentality created political pressure on the Kenosha prosecutor's office to get a conviction, whether or not it was warranted or not.
But that's wrong.
I will tell you something. Thankfully, you had a judge who was actually looking to pursue justice, because the prosecutor in Kenosha should be brought up on charges of ethical misconduct, because he buried evidence, he falsified claims, and he had no business pursuing this trial.
So here's the stupid
none.
question. So
No,
you're
no,
right,
the
it's when the
litany of his errors are insane.
He should be brought up on charges, and the district attorney there should be removed
But
as
any
well.
time a trial comes before a judge, the first thing the defense attorney gets up, he says, this case should be dismissed because of
That's
this
not
and
true.
this. No?
That's not true. No.
But the judge should have dismissed it right then and there in the beginning.
Right. So the judge can't. Well, you have to understand something. If a judge dismisses a case before evidence is heard, the prosecutor will appeal and most likely will get the case reinstated. There were witnesses.
They'll go forum shopping and find another judge.
It goes on appeal. It goes on appeal.
It can't be dismissed with prejudice?
Even if you dismiss it with prejudice, the appellate court will analyze the case. if there was enough evidence to make out what's called a prima facie showing that was presented in Wisconsin, I don't think you even have to, they didn't even present the case to a grand jury. But if there's enough allegations that you should make a prima facie showing that there was a crime committed, a judge must take those allegations as factually accurate for the purpose of deciding a motion to dismiss before trial. Once the trial starts and the evidence is presented by the prosecutor, by the district attorney or the U.S. attorney in a federal case, the judge will analyze the case in a light most favorable to the prosecution to determine whether or not they made a prima facie showing. That's at the end of the people's case or the U.S. attorney's case. And at the end of all evidence, there will be a motion to dismiss based on that the prosecutor failed to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. At that time, the judge could rule for the defendant, but that is reviewable. And again, it's reviewed by the appellate court. So even if so judges are very reluctant to dismiss cases on their own. They'll rather let the jury sort it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
As they should. A judge is there a judge and the jury have two separate roles. The judge's role at a trial is to be the arbitrator of law. The jury's role at trial is to apply the law to the facts as the jury. Apply the facts as the jury understands it, which is called testimony and evidence, to the law as instructed by the judge. The facts are determined by the jury. Law is determined by the judge. Neither of them are allowed to overstep the other one's boundaries. Now, a judge will make a separate. The judge could do that before. They usually don't. What happened in the Rittenhouse case, and what happens in every case, is the judge reserves decision on the motion to dismiss at the end of the prosecutor's case, and then we'll reconsider if there's a conviction. But once the jury comes back with the not guilty verdict,
but there's no way for the prosecution here to appeal this.
No, Kyle Rittenhouse could go to Kyle Rittenhouse wanted to.
That's the beauty of our system. You get tried once. Period.
If Kyle Rittenhouse wanted to go on national television and said, "I killed those guys. I wanted them dead. I killed them in cold blood." You know, there's something called double jeopardy, and he's protected.
But they'll find something
doesn't
else.
matter.
They can't convict him. They can't convict him for that.
Well, I mean, this was a state trial, but then I heard you could go after him federally.
Well, the federal charge was that
if these idiots try to make a federal case of this, that means that instead of Republicans winning 50 seats in the House in the midterms, they're going to win 150 seats in the midterms.
That's true. But
it would be an egregious abuse of justice.
But there was no
federal charges to be brought.
In order to bring federal charges, you even have to prove that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines in order to commit a felony.
Which is why every single talking head pundit on TV leads off with he crossed state lines.
Bingo, except that he was there.
It is the reason they say it.
Except that he was there 3 days earlier, plus he lives on the border.
But Chris, what I understand in the United States is, first of all, you're innocent until proven guilty. And this jury said that he's not guilty. How does our leaders like de Blasio and President Biden and other people say, hey, the verdict is not good? Isn't that
because they're awful, soulless Marxists that want to destroy our country?
Should we be able to sue these guys? Like, look,
yes, and he's going to. He's going to sue them successfully.
No,
the Covington kids took millions off of Communist News Network and MSNBC. He's going to be able to Kyle Rittenhouse is going to make a fortune off of these sleeves.
What Rittenhouse could do is he could sue the media for portraying a false narrative.
How about de Blasio?
De Blasio really can't do anything to all de Blasio was doing was making.
He was opining on the outcome of the case.
Exactly.
Everyone's allowed to have their opinion.
He could. The interesting thing is he might be able to sue Joe Biden because
he's going after Biden for that white supremacy tweet. Absolutely.
Joe Biden called him white supremacists at the time of the incident, and at that time, Joe Biden was a private citizen. He wasn't the president of the United States.
Private citizen, exactly. He was not immune.
So that goes back to the Bill Clinton situation. If you remember, Bill Clinton was a private citizen when Paula Jones accused him of harassing her, and she was allowed to. He tried to get the case stopped, dismissed because he was a sitting president. The courts determined that that conduct occurred before you were the president of the United States. And that's how we ended up with the Monica Lewinsky issue.
Yeah.
So this case,
one more fabulous precedent from Sleazy Bill.
Yeah. So Joe Biden is probably going to get sued, and you have a nice little settlement. And Nicholas Salmon. Sued.
Hunter better sell some more paintings.
Right. And Nicholas Salmon and Kyle Rittenhouse will be splitting up ownership of CNN, MSNBC.
I hope so. Chris, I want to ask you something. I want you to have a good laugh. December the 9th of this year, coming up, my city council is going to vote that 800 to 900,000 non-citizens will have the right to vote. Yes, Kalman Yeager is one of the idiot councilmen that's leading this charge. Explain to me, I mean, there's no possible way it's legal. I mean, the Constitution says it's not legal.
Chris, I just wanted to let you know one thing. This is the one time in life that Heshy will agree with Bill de Blasio. Because Bill de Blasio said they can't do it.
Really?
Well, Bill de Blasio said they can't do it because the state, a municipality cannot cannot determine election criteria for its only a state can. So unless the state assembly and the state senate and Governor Hochul sign into law something like what they're proposing in the city council, even if they want to limit to state elections, you cannot do it for just city elections. So it's not going anywhere.
Well,
So
it's
no matter what,
fascinating to
even if
watch
it-
a society commit suicide.
Well,
It's strange.
Even if it passes,
Even if it passes, de Blasio will probably not sign it.
he won't be mayor by the
And
time it
Adams
passes.
will not sign it, that's for sure. And this is just pandering.
Adams will sign it.
He won't.
He will. That do you understand? Most of his people are minority.
Even if you're minority, by the way, minorities don't want illegal immigrants taking their jobs. So let's be honest.
No, these guys have their jobs.
No, they take it. Like, I'm going to tell you something. Minorities do not appreciate illegal aliens doing the work that they used to get hired for half the price.
Yeah. The strangest thing is, one wonders why the leftist arm of the Democrat Party panders to criminals and illegal immigrants, because numerically they're not the majority. So clearly someone believes there is a winning formula here. God knows what it is, but they will plunge ahead with this stupidity.
And the irony is, in the last election, the last national elections, the Republicans polled pretty well with the Latino community, much higher than they've ever done before. And those are legal votes.
I found nothing funnier than the delusions of the left that somehow Latin Americans are going to vote for woke nonsense like boys wearing dresses and calling themselves Jane and all the other nonsense. Every single person I've ever worked with, whether in Chicago or New York or Texas, that were from Mexico or from further south, were family-oriented, hardworking, didn't want a handout, didn't want the government in their lives. They came from places where the government was in their lives way too much. They are all natural Republican voters. So the joke is, I say, let them stream across, give them amnesty. Who cares?
No, well,
they're all going to be GOP voters shortly.
No, the problem is they're brainwashed when they first cross the border to vote Democrat. So that's what they're afraid of.
Well,
I don't know. That gives the Democrats too much credit for being brainwashing. These people came from leftist hellholes. They've experienced real-life Marxism.
Agreed.
And they don't want a new, fresh version of it here.
Maybe you're right. But it's not worth taking.
Venezuelans are not going to show up here and vote Democrat.
Yeah, but I want to ask you a question, Chris. Is America a sovereign country or not?
It should be.
So if it should be, should illegal immigrants
We have a government that doesn't enforce the borders, so it doesn't act like a sovereign nation.
If it's a sovereign nation, should illegal immigrants have the rights of a citizen?
Of course they shouldn't.
So if you're giving them the right to vote, you're giving them the right of a citizen because the vote is...
which they shouldn't do.
So this is the reason why that's the only reason why I'm against giving illegal immigrants the right
Oh,
to
of course.
vote.
Yeah, for pure legality. I don't care where you're coming from.
Right.
If you
come from Israel
get here legally, the people most angry about illegal immigrants are those who have spent the time and money and effort to come here legally.
Yes, my parents.
They are the most vociferous about this insanity.
My parents immigrated legally.
But I don't mind them here, and I think the right to vote is you have to pass the test and become a citizen, and that's when you get the right. Now, I have a question for you. While we're talking about the idiot de Blasio, do you know that he's calling mayors and governors all around the country to enforce a mandate of the vaccine and telling everybody to do that? I mean, this guy is lost in his brain, and he's actually...
He is the weirdest creature I have ever come across in my life. He's a pure sociopath with weird tinges of autism. He can't read a room.
By the way,
He's bizarre.
By the way,
when
Soy
Hillary
is not
Clinton
listening.
told him not to come to Iowa to campaign for her, he went there with his weird little troll wife, and they walked around in Iowa, and the people are all looking at him like, weren't you told not to be here? Why are you here?
Right.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah, he needs a lot of help. By the way, Chris, this week I went to a party for Reverend Kevin McCall, and it was a lot of people of different races and color, and I met the district attorney, Gonzalez. He told me, Heshy, please try not to get arrested again. I don't want to go through this. And he asked me if I was
Mr. Gonzalez spoke to you without your lawyer there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And when I was, and then I was asking, when I was speaking to the
Tell them
crowd.
they should enforce better laws.
So they called me up to speak to the crowd, and everybody loved me there. Remember, this wasn't a Jewish crowd; it was more black and Latino community. It was like two Jewish guys there, and one of them received an award. I was so proud of them. And this Kevin McCall, he's just a wonderful angel of a man who actually is so good. He was on our show, and when I was speaking, I did say to the district attorney, we did speak. My lawyer wasn't here. I did say that to him. I said I could be in big trouble when they find out about it. But I went to this party. Wonderful people who believe in this city, reverends, people who do so much good, and they mentioned to me that Chris, we have a lot of people that's struggling in this city with food and stuff. There are so many numerous places that we can, you people out there who have a problem with a meal, you can find a Thanksgiving meal anywhere in Manhattan, Bronx, Queens. Guys, if you need it, you need to find it. You can go online. If you need, call me, text me. I will show you where you can get a free, nice, gorgeous meal for you and your family on Thanksgiving. And if nobody wants to take you, can still come to my house. But here's my little thing to you guys that. There's a guy by the name of Milo Yiannopoulos, whatever. He's a former Breitbart editor. He's a pig. First, he supports Trump,
Ash.
and I just called him an idiot. Well, he's a pig.
Okay.
And now let me tell you how bad he is. He went on, he told everybody whoever supported for Donald Trump should kill himself. Now, if I'm correct, and let me get this serious, he's telling people on national television and radio and internet, on Parler and all that media.
Don't amplify his idiocy. His entire shtick is being a provocateur
But my question
and
to
getting
you
people
is,
riled up. The best thing to do is ignore him.
You're talking about somebody who for decades identified himself as a homosexual conservative, and then last year determines he's no longer homosexual.
Well, all I know
and
is
now he's no longer conservative. So it's okay.
But what I understand, the law
He
is
got tired of wearing diapers.
But if anybody would have committed suicide, the law is that he has to be prosecuted for murder, right?
No.
What do you know?
You're referring to the case that happened in Massachusetts.
With the Henry Roy, the third
that was
case
a lot,
where the girl.
that's a lot more serious.
But more serious, they were both mentally ill, and if somebody mentally ill kills themselves because somebody tells them, this person should be charged.
No, there's something in the case, the Carter case. She was texting the person who killed
Yeah,
himself
she was
directly.
nuts. She was an evil little creature. She should burn in hell.
Again, whether or not she should be convicted of murder, I'm not sure. It's a case of first impression. So it's good. It's there's a good chance it's going to make it to at least the Massachusetts Supreme Court's going to have to decide it, and possibly U.S. Supreme Court. But you can't. But a person going on Twitter or whatever else. Social media just to say that
speaking generically to a class of people of what they should do is very different than texting back and forth with your boyfriend to kill himself in his car.
So so now that we're on the subject, and I know Sawyer is going to be very angry if she ever stops reading her phone. Sawyer, do you know I'm still talking on the radio? Sawyer, Chris is on with us. Sawyer, say hello to Chris.
You are always yelling at me not to interrupt.
No. Wow.
Hey,
Say hello to Chris. Who do you think picked up the call?
All right. So, but Chris, I want to tell you how she's going to get angry at me now. She says I don't like women or whatever. I'm getting angry with women. Here's something that's really bothering me. I have people bring their children to work, and we have a little either by the conference room, and we let people bring their children and bring a crib or whatever, and you can have them there. But you can't bring them into the office or into a meeting when you're having people there. You know what I mean? So there's a UK British lawmaker. She actually brought her baby into the House of Commons, into Parliament, and she's upset because they told her she can't no longer bring her child into the chamber. I mean, please.
Right.
I mean, you're in the middle of talking to the president or the prime minister, and you're creating laws, and your baby starts crying. And what did she do?
She should have nursed it.
She did. That's my point.
Exactly.
She actually started
Awesome.
nursing the baby under her shirt. You got to please. I know English.
Greatest thing ever.
I mean, come on. So you're telling me women are not nuts? I mean, this woman is an MK. She's part of Parliament.
I've got a perspective here. I got a perspective here.
Wait a minute, Sawyer.
I think-
Bloody hell, the baby's crying. It needs to change a nappy. Quickly.
I hate you, Sawyer. You could have said she was wrong.
The House of Commons has put up with a lot since Cromwell and before. It can handle a nursing baby. I think they will be improved thereby.
So
Well, actually, if you've ever watched that, if you ever looked at a debate in the House of Commons, they do sound like a bunch of babies. So it's okay.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I watched.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
If anything, I want a constitutional amendment to make sure that our clowns actually have to sit and listen to each other instead of this staged nonsense
that
where
would
they
be nice,
stand
actually.
alone in an empty chamber
It would be
and
nice.
read it into the record and no one hears it. I'd love to have some back and forth. It would spice things up.
That was one of the things when I got into city council. If I got in, I was going to make that every law, every a piece of legislation had to be read from cover to cover, and you'd have to sign a paper stating you read it, or it would be a criminal offense, and you could be
They should
somehow
have
sanctioned.
a random multiple choice test, and you get graded on it to see if they actually
They would
read
all
it.
fail.
How do we
Yeah,
do that? You have
yeah,
2,000 people.
yeah.
I mean, after that
So
$1 trillion
somebody who
debacle-
actually read it is going to make up a multiple choice test.
No,
Wait a second.
From
That's,
random things. Hold on, a couple of random things, but things that are very
Okay, so
important.
you had that
Not just like little,
So you had
a
that-
big.
So you had that monstrosity.
A big change.
You had the monstrosity of that.
I like Sawyer's testing idea. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I would love that, but you had the monstrosity.
You flunk, you get literally all 10 questions wrong. We know you didn't read a damn
Okay.
thing.
You never get. It's never gonna
Nobody
happen.
ever reads this. None of these. If you ever think that the
I
House
would
of
read all
Representatives-
2,000 pages, and I'll be happy
vote-
to make up that multiple
I will
choice
vote
test.
for you tomorrow to be my
I
representative.
will make it so easy, that test.
I will vote for you to be my representative because I would before this. I agree with you, by the way, because they just all these these budgets that passed through the House last week, and there's 2,000 pages right, of garbage.
It's nonsense. It's all complete garbage.
And it's usually given to the representative or the senator the night before the 9 o'clock a.m.
Oh, it's absurd.
Before the
It's
9 a.m.
criminal.
vote. So it's usually given to them after hours before 9 a.m. vote. And we're supposed to pretend. They're supposed to pretend that they know what's in it before they vote for it.
They don't know. They don't know a damn thing that's in
It
it.
is a miracle that Congress has an approval rating over 4%, and it's clearly got to be only because of statistical polling error.
By the way,
Plus or minus 3.5.
by
Exactly, the worst. They get negative. It's the worst.
By the way,
All of them.
Biden has one of the lowest approval ratings ever as a
I
president.
think at this point he's
And that's with the media juicing whatever numbers they can get.
I think for now-
he's the worst. I made a point on my show a couple days ago, which was that if you were just to make decisions, right, you make choices about policy, you make law by random chance, 50% of the time you might actually do something correct. To be wrong 100% of the time takes a unique genius
Well, I was actually
that Brandon has in spades.
actually had this
Everything they
discussion.
do is wrong.
I actually had the discussion with a couple of friends of mine. I think he's doing it deliberately. I mean,
Of course, it's deliberate.
No, he
this
wants
is not
to-
an
he wants to mess-
accident.
no, he wants
He's
to-
Obama Mark II.
now he wants to mess up this. He wants to mess up as bad as possible so that no one can improve this country when he's finished.
But he's already.
Oh,
announced-
this is the goal. They were very upset they couldn't get it done during Barry Hussein Soetoro's reign.
Right.
Now they're going to get it done with this clown.
But he
Did you hear Psaki this week? Somebody asked her something, a question that had nothing to do with Trump. And she was literally saying, well, Trump. The question had
I know it's the
nothing to
greatest.
do.
She's awesome.
I mean,
of course it doesn't.
she's still circling.
Well, no, whenever you have when you have no answer, you say Trump.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't, I can think of no
Instead of
worst job
Mikey,
on the planet.
Instead of
than
Mikey
trying
did
to
it,
defend this
Trump is the new
nonsense.
Mikey. Trump is the
Mikey
you
likes
know,
it.
Mikey was from the
Life
90s,
commercial,
the
life-
80s
Yeah, yeah.
commercial, and
What
Trump
I
is the
love
new
about
millennium,
the left
new
Trump derangement syndrome is he's simultaneously a complete idiot and the Machiavellian genius that controls everything.
Well, all I know is Biden has announced that he is running for a second term.
Yes.
So
As what?
Of course they have to, because Cackles is sitting there, and they're wondering what on earth they got into.
But no,
As the vice president.
my question is, who's going to be his running mate?
Oh, you think he's going to? He might forget.
You kidding me?
Okay.
It's going to be Pete Buttigieg,
Oh,
who's
no,
going to be coming off his
I agree with you because there's
paternity leave.
But I mean that's the conventional wisdom. It's going to be Buttigieg. But my question is,
Why? Kamala's not going to be
They're
asked to run again?
doomed.
No.
It
No.
doesn't matter.
they hate each other. But the
What do
thing
you
is,
mean? One
the
minute,
thing
hold
is,
on. One minute. What do
They
you
are
mean?
doomed.
Well,
I've never prayed so hard for a man I hate. All I want is that doddering old fool to live out the
Term.
remainder of his
Me too. It's terrible.
administration.
One minute, Chris, did you hear what he said? That you're saying Camilla
What?
and Biden hate each other, and
course.
she will not be chosen a
that's
second
right.
time?
Well, you have to understand what happened during the debates. During the Democratic debates,
Oh, yeah.
Kamala Harris called him a racist.
Correct.
So since then, he hated her. The only reason Kamala Harris was picked as his running mate is because Barack Hussein Obama made him do it.
So
Jill Biden hates Kamala Harris. Joe Biden hates Kamala Harris. Anybody associated with the Biden family hates Kamala Harris.
he's going to look like a fool
No,
then.
he won't.
Why?
No, he won't. Because
was
she
like a
has the
fool
low,
now.
she
He
has a
doesn't
low
care.
approval rating than he does.
Wow.
She has a low. She has a low approval rating than he
So
does.
now that I'm making fun of women, I want to ask you one question, Chris, and we spoke about this at the
We're not
beginning.
making fun of women. We're making fun of Kamala. She's a nightmare.
Right, but you know, we were joking about at the beginning of the show. The first Sweden, the first female prime minister, quit after 2 hours. Please explain to me the stupidity.
Wait, you kidding me? She quit? I saw that she was made prime minister. She quit?
She
No, no,
quit
she
because
was-
they couldn't pass the budget.
Right, when she was made prime minister, she didn't even accept office, and she resigned.
Yeah, because-
and now she says she's going to go to the king to choose her again,
Yes,
which is
because-
allowed to do.
Because the her coalition partners voted against the budget, so it was going to create a vote of no confidence.
Right away on the first day.
That's fascinating.
I'm showing everybody a picture.
That's the problem with the parliamentary system.
I'm showing everybody a picture from camera here. You can't see maybe, Chris, of Mr. Trump standing with Carl Rittenhouse. I'm so happy
Oh,
that he
of
was able
course.
to do. That's a great picture. And then I have another one here from the New York Daily News that there was a 45-page report detailing the investigation into the sexual harassment claims made against former Governor Andrew Cuomo, soon to be released. The Cuomo impeachment report details of misdeeds and backs up harassment claims. So there is more thing that he
course.
tried to hide stuff. So Mr. Cuomo, who everybody thinks ran away and gave up so easily, he gave up so easily because he knew if he
But
wouldn't, he would have been
but
dead.
here's my question now. So you're in state, you know state politics better than I do, Heshi. The only reason that they would continue doing this report right now is if they can actually bring up an impeachment, because that's probably the only way to avoid Andrew Cuomo.
So you got to bring
running
charges
again.
against Hansy Andy.
No, but
At
the
least
question
in
is this.
Illinois, 4 of the last 5 governors are in federal prison. At least they know how to deal with their corrupt politicos. New York just lets them skate.
Well, that's the U.S. Attorney's Office. But my question is to this. At most, if they're going to do you think there's going to actually be an impeachment procedure?
No, I spoke to many assemblymen and senators, and they said if he wouldn't have left office, they were considering very close to impeaching him, and they did have some kind of internal vote in committees. But now that he's gone, they wanted to go away. They don't want to cause trouble.
So if he throws his hat in the ring
he's
next,
gone. Why would they go through the
if he throws his
irritation of
hat in the
impeaching
ring
him? Who
next,
cares?
if he throws his hat in the ring to run as governor next year,
yeah,
are they
he-
going to impeach him?
no, they can't.
There's
couldn't
no
impeach him.
way he's that insane.
No, well, that's the. Trust me,
And
he
just
is that
remember, he
insane.
could run because they're not charging him as a felon.
Right.
They're giving him only a misdemeanor.
Right.
And a misdemeanor, he can run again with no issue,
Right.
even as a felon. He can. I want to ask you a question, Chris. You know, I watch a lot of movies on TV of doomsday of the world. You know, of course, viruses that kill out the
Cheery
whole world.
stuff.
Right,
Romances.
whatever, but viruses that kill the world. I guess that's how they got, the viruses. Really, I seen some of these movies that came out years ago, and I guess our people, these countries are trying to trick us into these viruses. Thanksgiving, everybody, you're talking, it's pre-pandemic travel, like better than the pandemic travel. And they're saying we're all going to die again from corona. I don't see how that's happening. But they're saying that there's an asteroid, like all these movies that are on its way to Earth to crash.
Yep.
And they're sending up a satellite to change its trajectory. I mean, come on, just like the corona, I don't really believe that's true. It can't come through the Earth's atmosphere.
But we've all gotten insanely lucky. The number of rocks that whip by us in space. Here's a fun home experiment for you to do with the kids. Take a tray with a white bottom, like a white enamel tray, fill it with about 3 inches of water, and leave it outside in a clear area with no trees, and go back after about 48 hours with a magnet and drag the magnet through that. You're going to find you collected about a half an ounce of iron filings that have fallen. The number of meteors that rain down on our atmosphere daily, it happens constantly. So statistically, one of them is going to be big enough. And it happens. They hit to Tunguska. One hit in the Yucatan about 8 years ago. There's another one that hit in Russia about 12 years ago.
But
they happen. Eventually, one of them is going to fly through the World Trade Center.
But they haven't caused any major damage. And usually we're coming really? They did cause damage?
Yeah, but if you look, it's just luck of the draw that when you look at 2/3 of the planet is water, and then you look at urban concentrations, which are a small percentage of the landmass where humans are. So we've just gotten lucky. They've hit in fairly remote areas.
Chris, you call it luck of the draw. I call it God. So I call it God running the world.
I don't only call it God, but I know God created the earth in a way with that it's impossible to come. It's impossible to break through the.
Apparently, it does break through the
apparently
atmosphere.
Not. Apparently, he left a couple of flaws in the atmosphere.
But God decides when it breaks through the atmosphere, where it's going to break through the atmosphere, and how much of an impact it's going to be.
Okay, but this is the first time. That's
fine. That works too.
But I just have one question before since we bring up COVID. FDA last week. We've been talking about COVID and the vaccines. The FDA went last week and it filed a judicial motion to have all the records of COVID, including the back how it started as well as all the vaccines. They want to seal for 55 years. Is there
what?
Of course they do.
They have filed a motion. They have filed a motion to seal all the records for 55 years.
That's not fair.
Well,
of course, it's insanity.
Who killed Kennedy?
It's insanity because they are desperate to try to control this narrative, and they're in serious trouble. Yeah. Right. Fauci, when he's not paying people to torture puppies with sand fleas, paid for gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And I can attest to its effects for the last 2 weeks. He did a great job. The gain of function was pretty good. But with a disease that's got a 99.982% survival rate, this hysteria has just eventually got to end. People are tired of it. They're bored. The Europeans are rioting in the streets over this next
down Austria.
Lockdowns and green passes and vaccines and all this crap.
It's crazy.
They're like, enough. I'm done with it.
I know. I just want to tell you, so we have so many issues, so many problems in the world. And I was reading a report today, this is going to be my last story I'm going to tell you about, that there was internal data, some kind of internal data about Instagram that have a negative impact on adolescent users. This doctor, a new idiot, Ruth Gerson, she's the founder, senior vice president of mental health services, appeared on television, and she says that her expert insight into the issue that young girls who use Instagram have images of the social media thing trigger a mental state that has been called and compared to despair. That means if you're using Instagram and you're a young girl, you're going to have mental problems.
No. It's not. That's not what she's saying. What she's saying is the stuff that you see on social media and the stuff that's portrayed on social media has a negative impact on people who don't meet that, what's glamorized. And it's the same thing.
Yeah, and they were moaning about this in the 80s when they were putting skinny models up on billboards at Times Square.
So what is she trying to say? Shut down Instagram?
She's saying parents should monitor what their kids are doing.
Parents should always monitor what
parents
kids are
losing their rights.
Well, that's true. But I agree with you. But that's
You
what
know?
she's saying as parents.
If
she
you
might know what
take
the kids are
away
doing.
social media from your child or
I know.
you ban them, I mean,
You go to jail. You go to jail.
Oh God help me. Anyways, Chris, I am actually considering now for the first time really to have a gun. Only because of not because of the Rittenhouse case and everything, only because of this young
Come on
siblings.
down to the range. We'll get you trained up nice.
Oh God, me walking down the street, you know what I mean, my suit and tie, and I'm saying, my name is Cowboy Heshy. What are you? How do you do? I got to come up with a cowboy name.
You would be surprised. You walk around here in Florida or in Texas, and everyone looks exactly the way they look everywhere else, and most of them are carrying a firearm.
I know some people are telling me, come down to Florida, Heshy. It is beautiful. There's no lockdowns, nobody being tortured. You're not going to go through the craziness that you're going there. I got it, Chris. But, I'm not like Pelosi. I'm never going to abandon my place. I have to be here for my people. And I believe it's my God-given duty. I know a lot of people have to go because they're made crazy. God put me here. Me and Linda are going to suffer till the last day we breathe. I'll come visit you, but that's about it.
And Baruch Hashem that you're doing it. But
I love you.
And
I'm going to win the next election.
I came here to my
watch.
people, the freedom lovers who are armed to the teeth.
You're right. I'm going to win the next election. You watch. Anyways, Chris, thank you for joining the show. Sawyer, thank you for playing with your phone.
Great to talk to you guys.
I think thank you, Sawyer. Say goodbye to the audience.
Good night, Chris.
Good
night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Giving.